Well, the Hoosiers, they have started their practices. Darian DeVries went on an interview with Jeff Goodman, Field of 68, answered some questions about what he's seeing out of this team. They've got about a week's worth of practices in so far. We did the Huber's Winery thing. It's the whole season. It's getting ready to start, like really kind of refreshed for the whole new year. We're going to talk about that interview and more on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. I win. Basketball is a way of life in Indiana that many people will never understand.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection on the road. Okay, we are in St. Joseph, Michigan at this high park up here, and just having ourselves a grand old time, walking on the beach, doing all that type of stuff. But we have got a bunch of stuff to get into, talking about the Hoosiers and what's going on with them right now. So DeVries goes on. I got about 8 clips here lined up, and we're going to go into each clip and then talk about everything that's going on with the team, what he sees so far. It doesn't look like any big man's coming in, and I'm going to tell you, I'm like 50-50 on whether or not I want Luke Goody and Anthony Leal to even come back on the team. At this point, these guys are like redheaded stepchildren, no pun intended, but I don't think these guys, I think we want a fresh new start, but Darian DeVries says a lot of things in these interviews, and it's just very enlightening. It's very good stuff to hear. Although it's all just talk, you can tell this dude is more about the action than he is about the talking. So we're going to go into those clips. But first, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button down below. This is Indiana Sports Connection. Thank you for joining me across the country and across the globe and engaging Indiana fans everywhere. I have missed you out there, so leave your comments down below. What do you think about the team? Do you think they need a big guy? Do you think they need this? I want to hear from you because we do have another giveaway coming up at 3,200 subscribers. We will be giving away magnificent coasters that I have, Indiana coasters, and t-shirts as well on the channel. So hit that subscribe button, and I am looking for a sponsor, so if you want to sponsor Indiana Sports Connection, email me at indianasportsco@proton.me. And as always, 10% of the AdSense revenue on this channel goes to T2T.org. Without further ado, let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. All right, Hillbilly Monkey.
Oh, you're finally gonna say my name. I'm down here, finally down here at the beach, trying to catch myself some tail.
There's nothing more charming than a guy that calls women tail. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? So the first question they asked Darian DeVries, how are you going to get IU back on track? Come on, Chet. We need to get back on track so we can get right back down to the way that things used to be between 1973 and 1993. How's he going to do it? Makes no bones about it. It's not going to be easy. How is he going to have sustained success at Indiana? Hillbilly Monkey, roll that clip.
I think for us, it's really just dedicating yourself to that process, and what is that is going to help you not only in the short term but the long term sustain success, and that's what everybody in the country is trying to do, right? And it certainly has its challenges now with the portal and building and sustaining. But I believe when you're at a place that has the commitment and the resources that we have, that you can have retention and be able to keep players year after year, and that's how you ultimately can build it into something that you can manage that success year after year after year.
There you go. With the resources Indiana has, I think Darian DeVries is in a situation now where we can retain players year over year. I don't think we're going to be in the NIL rebuilding mode over and over and over again. I think with the resources we have, yes, we're going to have some guys walk away from the team. Like all guys are going to be doing that these days more than it ever happened before. But I believe the recruiting, we are seeing so many offers coming out. I think he's going to combine the recruiting with the NIL money in a way that is going to really kind of bring it full circle where you got 4-year players, you got transfer guys, but I think DeVries is on the right track. And he doesn't make any, it's just about working hard and doing the process. And that's what I love about this guy, what he says in all of his interviews. He's always saying the right thing, and he's always doing the right thing, I believe, so far. We have no reason to go against this guy now. The next clip, he talks about the role for Tucker DeVries. He talked in this interview a little bit about his injury. He doesn't talk about that here, but he's almost back 100% from his injury, and what is his role going to be on this team for the Indiana Hoosiers this next upcoming year. This dude is a baller. Hillbilly Monkey, roll that clip, Reno.
Yeah, I think for us, with this group, part of it's going to be, being teacher. You got a lot of new guys. He's the one guy that has familiarity with the terminology, the system, and things. So as we're getting started in these workouts, it's just being kind of a leader on that side of it from a player perspective, of being able to answer questions about what the coaches are looking for, what are we trying to get, and but from just like, hey, what's his role with this team? That'll all kind of like everybody kind of evolve over the course of time as we try to figure out how to best utilize everybody on the roster and what's going to make the most sense to help them all complement one another as you get into season play, and that part will be a process as well as you go through non-conference and into league play.
So one great thing, we have like 2 teachers really on this team. We have Connor Enright, who's familiar with the system, and we have Tucker DeVries, and that's going to help go a long way. You got 2 of the 12 that are going to be able to direct and, put them on opposite teams, and always have a guy that maybe knows the terminology, maybe knows the system a little bit better than some of the other guys. Here's something I've got a lot of comments, and I never knew exactly. I thought it's Darian DeVries, but he asked him about if it's annoying him or whatever. I'm going to tell you, his answer is Midwest nice. And Hillbilly Monkey, roll that clip. Is he Darren or Darian? Let's find out for ourselves.
Hey, how many people screw up your first name and call you Darian instead of Darren?
I'd say about half and half. Yeah. So I get the unique ability to have 2 first names, and I just roll with it. It's like,
you never correct anybody. Never?
Hardly ever. If somebody asks me, I'll say, yeah, it's Darren. But if it not, I just ride with it. So it's kind of fun to me. It's a unique spelling. If I was gonna, to pronounce it, I'd probably say the same thing. I'd go with a different pronunciation than what it is. So,
did you correct people when you were like young, growing up in like grade school and middle school? Would you correct? Never.
No, not really.
There you go. It's Darren. It's Darren. I thought it was Darren, and it's just he spells it Dere. I don't know why they did that. It's confusing, yes, but it's Darren moving forward. So he talks in this next clip about the guys they got. Does he like the guys? And why did he choose those guys? Hillbilly Monkey, let's roll that clip and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I thought for the most part what we wanted was just really good guys in the locker room, about winning, about the right things. I think we definitely accomplished that. I really like the way the roster came together there. We wanted to prioritize, a really high skill, high IQ, competitiveness. I think we did a really good job there with getting some good depth in a lot of those areas, and then having not just getting a collection of maybe individuals, but putting a team together that complements one another so that we could play off of one another. And I like that. I like the way it's come together so far. Obviously, we're very early into it with just a couple workouts, but I think there's some really good pieces there. I really like the way this group has come in and attacked these first few days. So excited to see how this team can continue to grow over the course of the summer.
What do you think will be the biggest strength of this group?
I feel like we got a lot of depth in shooting and skill. I think we're going to be able to really stretch the floor and do it fairly consistently. I think that's going to be one of our strengths, and hopefully that'll play out that way.
So there you go. The one thing I've heard so many people say is, we don't have a 5. We don't have a big guy. We have depth at shooting. Look, coaches are going to decide what they want their team to be built on. Look, Mike Woodson, we had nothing. We knew he was going to play the high-low game with 2 big guys the whole time. We didn't like that style of play. We didn't like that system. Now you bring in this guy, he's going to have a totally different style of play. And we should all be happy about it. Do we not have some big lummoxing five? No, we don't. We have depth at shooting. We have depth. In this next clip, he'll talk about the depth we have at point guard. That leads me into the next clip. He asks him who is going to start at point guard. Darian DeVries always sticks to his guns. He never lets the cat out of the bag and tries to say something he's not to. But he talks about the 3 point guards on this team and what they all bring to the table. He'll be like, monkey, roll it.
Is it the kid, the transfer from Troy? Is he probably going to be the one who's going to have the ball in his hands the most?
Yeah, we have 3 point guards that we like, and it'll be open competition all summer. But I do think we have great depth there. We have good experience there as well. I think they're all can complement one another. They can play on and off the ball. So they have the ability to go out there, make plays. But that's going to be a big piece for us, is having someone that can, create those opportunities for those shooters to be able to get in the paint, get to the rim, find those pick and roll situations where they can, play, make, create for other guys. And I think we have enough there as we continue to go that we're going to have some good depth there as well.
So I've said this to Indiana fans, like if you're expecting a coach that's going to be a rah-rah guy, you're probably not that guy. You're a ball coach. I mean, you are. You love coaching. That's what you've done. You've got a person. It's not a huge personality. You're not going to go out there and, right? Am I wrong? Like, I'm trying to describe you, and it's not offensive in any way. I'm just trying to give Indiana fans a sense of who you are, because they don't know yet, and you want to coach ball. I don't even know what your other hobbies are, but I know coaching ball is here, and I don't know whatever else is there. Probably family is probably up there with it. How does that play into this Indiana fan base that is out of their minds? And I don't know if they want somebody that's necessarily a rah-rah guy, but last I checked, your football coach had some rah-rah in him and got people going with his first comments when he was introduced during a basketball game last season.
Yeah, I think for every guy, every coach in any sport, you have to be who you are. You don't try to be somebody else. My hope would be just be someone that is out in the community, approachable, relate to people, be able to go up and say hello and talk. I'm probably not the guy you stick in front of 50,000 people and get them jumping up and down. But, for me, it's just about, hey, I want to be a part of this community. Yeah. I want to be relatable to the community and have them, be supportive from back and forth. It's a two-way street. I want to support them, and hopefully they'll come out and support us. And it'll be, a very, positive experience in that way.
So, in all likelihood, it is going to be Tatum Conaway, but he's not going to say that flat out. He looks like the most amount of like a dog on this team, and I believe Connor Enright is going to come into some of these games and play alongside other guards and be able to really kind of help where you got like 2 passers on the floor for brief periods for like maybe 3 or 4 minutes. You could go to a smaller lineup and play 2 guards at the same time. He said this in this clip. We got to remember like how we're going to see such a different style of play out of these Darian DeVries teams than we did the Mike Woodson system, or whatever the Mike Woodson system really was. And then the last part of that last clip, like he talked about his coaching style. Be who you are. You got to be genuine to yourself. Yeah, if this dude came out here and tried to act like Curt Cignetti, it wouldn't work, because Curt Cignetti, he's an Italian SOB, I've known a ton of people like that, and they're more, they got a different type of personality. Darian DeVries, he's more Midwestern. He's got more of those like Midwestern values and stuff like this. We do know one thing. He's not going to, if he's on a zero tolerance policy, he's not going to grab somebody the arm and say,
"My name is Dere, not Darian."
So at least you got that to look forward to.
Absolute crock of you people in the news media, all of you dwell on some negative piece of like that, and I don't know how Steve feels about it, but it just
look forward to. That's a reference to night being called night. The next clip, he talks about Indiana, the NIL, how they have this stuff set up, and how this is helping him in the transition process into this next phase of coaching for Darian DeVries. Hillbilly Monkey, let's roll that clip, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I think the thing here is they had a lot of things in place already, and very well organized as you talk about kind of the alliance, in the administration and how supportive everyone is, and the fan base and donors and things. They have it in a really good place. So for me, it's more just about building those relationships and continuing on with that. But it's something that is a very critical piece, as we all know, in college athletics. And but they have a very good structure in place here that makes it, from my standpoint, the job a little easier from there. And now it's just, make sure you continue to do a good job and build those friendships as we go along.
That's huge, though, isn't it? To already have it in place where you don't have to go up, because that's taking time away from the things that you could or should be doing, right? Coaching the team, being around the guys, especially with a brand new team. I assume that makes your life so much easier than a lot of guys who are out there in caravans all the time. And you have to do some of that, but like, you want to be able to coach and develop these guys and get the chemistry right, because let's face it, the plan is for every kid now.
You can tell this dude is a hard ass worker. Unlike Mike Woodson, not that I want to throw him under the bus every 2 seconds, but look, a lot of this stuff was set up for Mike Woodson because he had not a clue on how to coach college basketball. And a lot of people, I think, really were helping Mike Woodson even behind the scenes for the team to even kind of have the amount of success that it even had, even though it was not a high level of success at all. So having all of that stuff in place, and now we're bringing in a coach that actually knows what the hell he's doing. I mean, I hate to say it, but he knows what he's doing in college basketball. So a lot of that stuff that's already set up, it's helping him with time management. And for a guy that's coaching like Darian DeVries is, time management is going to be one of the most critical things. You can only be in so many places in so many ways, and you got to delegate stuff out. So having that NIL set up is a big deal. The next clip, he talks about, has he still been out in the community raising money and all of that type of stuff? Hillbilly Monkey, roll it.
Yeah, and we still are out in the community trying to do those things and raise money. We want to do that. We want to be a big part of that. But you are right. It does free up some of the time that you have to spend with your team, spend with your roster as you're developing, a lot of new guys that, this is all new to them. So that's a huge advantage for us as we get to spend that time in the gym. And I don't have to miss as many workouts. But we're still out doing those things, but it certainly is nice, a luxury to be able to be in that gym a little bit more.
So yeah, he, has been out in the community some and doing stuff like that, but he's not having to be out there. Like some of these coaches have to spend so much time raising money. If you're an Alabama coach of their basketball team, you got to be out there raising money. At Indiana, the money just flows in. The interest, the intrigue, the amount of people that love Indiana basketball, the money is there. The money is going to be flowing in. So it's just one less thing that you got to really have on your mind, that you're going to have the NIL resources and have those resources at hand. At Indiana, it's practically built in. We've been bad for 9 years, and the interest is still super high in the Indiana Hoosiers basketball team. The last clip, he talks about the chemistry and the team staying connected, all of those good types of things that make you really feel good about what's happening with this team. And they're out there practicing already, and here's what he had to say about the new Indiana Hoosiers. Hillbilly Monkey, let's roll it.
The chemistry part of it.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I think it's going to go a long ways in determining how successful your team can be. Can they be connected enough and more about just trying to win versus some of the exterior things out there. And I think the teams that can do that the best and put the rosters together the best, that these teams are really connected, those are the teams that are going to be the most successful.
So one thing that a lot of programs aren't doing anymore is these foreign trips. Because frankly,
that was the best clip of all. Like, the team has to be focused on winning. The team they can't be focused on individual aspects of what am I going to get out of this? Like all of these self-centered things. I think he's got the group that is selfless, that There are a lot of them with chips on their shoulders from, bottom level, never were maybe NBA talent type players. That's the kind of guys you want to bring in. Those are the kind of guys that are going to put it all out there. Will there be times where they struggle a little bit on defense because they don't have a big guy to protect the rim? Yes, there will be times like that, and those will, just like Purdue last year, having only Trey Kaufman-Renn all of a sudden at the 5 instead of like a 7'4" Zach Edey. There were times they struggled, but Purdue was still a damn good team. They were a fun team to watch. They move the ball. They shoot the ball. That's more of what you're going to see out of this Indiana team. A system of shooting, a depth of shooting, and guys that are really connected. Hillbilly Monkey, what did you think about this interview and Darian DeVries and what he is going to be bringing to the table here in Bloomington in this next session of Indiana basketball?
Carved from the sands of the Wabash River and formed into a monkey land that's sold at Home Goods. It's the Hillbilly Monkey Perspective on Indiana Sports Connection.
Well, you can tell that Darian DeVries is just a one-of-a-kind dude, a genuine dude. They asked him about, he's not like a rah-rah guy. He never really seems to get embarrassed about who he is. He never really seems to kind of have a chip on his shoulder when he's answering certain questions. I think he's a guy that probably, has been maybe counted out, because he had a brother that played in the NFL, kind of was always that scrappy dude that was always having to fight. And I think that's what he brings to these basketball teams is a personality and a focus, and just kind of like having that, I'm always going to fight, I'm always going to do whatever it takes to be a winner and make this thing into something that's great.
Yeah, that is definitely so profound. Well, I hope everybody is having a great summer, and I'm enjoying myself out here in St. Joseph, Michigan, and I just cannot wait to see how this team is going to kind of galvanize itself together. And I think we're gonna have a team we could be proud of, a hard fighting, gritty team that is going to take Indiana basketball to places that it really had no chance to go with Mike Woodson or Archie Miller. I don't think it, and I think we do have somebody here now that has a better resolve, has just a better idea of what it's going to take to put this together. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.